Okay, and this is the Swedish Air Force field phone, otherwise known as the Flygervinet, if I said that correctly, means the Air Force in Swedish. This is it. Pretty compact unit, it's made of aluminum case, cover removes, leather carry strap, rubber feet. We'll open it up later. This is an interesting phone because it was designed in specific requirements for the Swedish Air Force. The Swedish already had the 3926, which is the phone you see lots of places you can buy them for use as a field phone. Well, the Swedish Air Force had an interesting position to be in, and the Swedes were basically in the same position as the Swiss were. They were in between NATO and the Warsaw Pact during the Cold War. So no matter what happened, they were stuck in the middle. So there's a good chance they were going to have issues and have to defend themselves. Swedes were the same way. Swedish Air Force is the fourth largest air force in the world, and the Swedes are built and operate on the idea of dispersed, austere airstrips. So basically, in the event of heightened military conditions or alerts, the Swedish Air Force would disperse. They have predetermined locations for everything from their aircraft, their fuel, POL, maintenance, spares, munitions, support for the ground crews, air crews. So everything's basically set up for a dispersed location. And this is the phone they would use for that. And we'll go ahead and open it up. And what makes this really interesting, I'll open it up, is how it was designed. But first thing you'll notice, it's got the cover on the inside was designed to hold a headset. I don't have that headset. I wish I did. It also holds an extra long carry strap if you want to replace this strap with a long. We'll go ahead and set that aside. I'll tilt it a little bit so you can see it. It's interesting. We'll go through it right now. Here is the handset, the standard handset, push to talk right there. This spot right here would be used to connect the headset if we had it. Then this little selector right here is used to select either the handset or the headset. And setting the handset right now for obvious reasons. This is the hook switch. It goes on and off. So you actually put the phone in there and just pull it off. Puts the phone on and off hook. Uses 4 D-cell batteries. Now we'll get to the interesting part. This phone can operate in 2 modes at the same time, if I can say that correctly. Basically, it's got 4 binding posts on it. The black binding posts are used to connect to a field phone line. So if you had another field phone, say another 3926, another phone like this out there, you would connect to that, and that would be used for making calls to that phone. The red binding posts right here are used to connect to a common battery dial network. So basically, you could have both of those hooked at the same time. These switches right here then decide what you want to do with the phone to make phone calls. If you receive an incoming call right here, it's going to ring out this speaker right here. It's not adjustable, one volume only. You're going to get it. If you get a call on this, it'll come through here the same way. The thing what makes the difference is what you're going to do and how you're going to process the call is these switches right here. So basically, if somebody called on any of these binding posts and you took the phone off hook and talked, you would be able to talk back and forth. The difference is when you're going to make a call. The first thing is if you want to make a call on these binding posts right here, you'd flick it to L. That means line. Then you would go ahead and decide whether you want to send a ring signal, which is like a normal ringer a telephone has, or a tone to the phone on the other end. That's decided right here. Right now we're in the ring sign. You'd grab this crank and crank away, and the phone on the other side will ring. If you had it in this setting right here and turn the crank, that's the tone you get. Do that beep, that's the tone you get. Then right here, this was used to process whether you're going to use the ringer or the dialer. Basically, if you're in L, you want to make a call, you had to use the crank. That's the only way it'll work. If you have it in L and A, you can use the crank or the dial to make a phone call. Or if you're in the strict A mode right here, you can only use the dial by itself. The other interesting thing about this, if you look at the dial, the Swedes put the dial, the 0 before the 1 instead of after the 9. Now this phone will work with my home phone, which I have Mediacom. I hooked up, made some phone calls between this and my cell phone, but you're off 1 digit. So when you dial, this is actually 1, 2, 3, and it works like that. I don't know why the Swedes did that. I need to look at some more information I have and see if the dial they have for their 3926, their small brown phone they have, if the dial's the same way, or if that was just something unique that they did right there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead, we're going to shut her down, I'm going to hook it up, we'll make some phone calls with this. Okay, we got everything hooked up. I basically have a regular old commercial phone hooked up to my small PABX so I can make dial phone calls. The Familiarization phone, Swedish phone, is connected to the small PABX. I have to use one of these converter boxes though to convert the dial pulse to dial tone, and that's connected right there on the red, which would be the common battery leads. And I have the Russian TA57 connected to the actual field wire leads, or would be the local battery leads. So I'll go ahead and we'll start by making a phone call in local battery, which means we're going to call this from this. So basically this phone has to be unhooked. There we go. Pick the phone up, take this off hook, test one, two, test one, two. Loud and clear, works well. Okay, now I'll go ahead and hang it up. Now I'll go ahead and I'll call from the TA57 to this phone right here. Notice that we keep the selector into L. Actually, it'll do it in any of them. So right here, if I do this, it does it. If I go into L and A, it rings. If I go into straight L, it rings. So no matter what mode you're in, and you receive a phone call on your common battery or from a field phone, the phone will ring. Okay, next call we're going to do, we're going to make a phone call from this phone right here to this phone using the dial system, the PBX. Dial 602. That's how loud it is. Notice it'll ring on this also in any of the positions. So you don't have to worry about what this is set in to make to receive a phone call. So go ahead and pick it up, take it off hook. Test 1, 2. That's it right there, loud and clear. Now, in order to make a call, whether you're doing a crank call with local battery or a dial-up call, the phone's got to be on hook. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a dial phone call. So we're going to have it set in A. Okay, I'm going to take the phone off hook. Have dial tone. I'm going to dial this number 601, but because the zero's in the wrong place, I'm going to have to subtract one. So I'm going to actually be dialing 501. Ah, darn, it didn't work. Try it again. All right, 601, so we're going to go off hook. Going to dial 6. There we go, went through that time. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Quartz up here. So, as you notice, when I made the dial on that, I actually had to subtract the number from it, so it doesn't work. We'll go ahead and hang it up. Okay, now I'll demonstrate, put an L, and we'll set it to tone signal, which means when I crank the crank, it's going to send a tone out, so you can get an idea what the tone sounds like. You can hear that or not. We'll pick this up, and that's it, it sends a tone. Not quite sure why they have that. They might have some systems that they have online that use tone to signal phones, but that's pretty much it. Like I said, this will work with your local phone network, probably. I know I have Mediacom. I hooked it up, and I could make dial calls. I didn't have to use this little box right here. This is just needed when I do phone calls on my PABX. And that's it. Pretty neat little phone. And thanks for watching.